It's pretty much a guarantee right now that stimulus checks are coming to many Americans all across the United States. And this is the good news that I want everybody to know. So far, we are seeing a lot of stimulus payments be approved. Many states, cities, and even the federal government are considering stimulus payments. So there are huge developments being made to President Biden's legislative agenda right now. Elizabeth Warren has just announced that she is open to breaking up the Build Back Better bill to get the bill across the finish line, everybody. This could even mean passing a fourth stimulus package even sooner than expected. And this is all breaking news in Congress that you have to know. Remember folks, I'm always doing my very best in providing you with the most up-to-date and reliable stimulus check information. So it means a lot to me if you guys could subscribe to the channel. So like I said, negotiations have started. They're back at it again. Democratic senators like Elizabeth Warren have actually told CBS News, credible sources, that she is open to breaking up the Build Back Better bill, just to get the chance to pass stimulus bills. So when asked about a timeline of President Biden's social spending bill, for example, Elizabeth Warren, the Democratic senator who's pushing stimulus payments very much, she said that she's open to whatever is going to get us across the finish line, knowing we're not going to get one single Republican to lower the price of prescriptions. In her words, I quote, "We've got all those in Build Back Better, we just need to get them across the finish line." I personally, everybody, believe that this is definitely true. So we've got all those bills, like I said, everybody, in the Build Back Better, but I do think that President Biden's bill can be split into separate packages. This might help getting stimulus checks being sent out faster. For instance, the expanded child tax credit was one of the programs that Warren has singled out that needed to be passed as soon as possible, ASAP. The program has also impacted 36 million families, and it was temporarily paused this month. But there's no need to worry about that because still, stimulus checks are being approved in certain cities. Now, it is extremely important that lawmakers take action for the American people because I know that many of you guys are having a very tough time right now, as the crisis just continues to negatively affect people financially. Another fourth stimulus check would definitely help the bank accounts of millions of people. But this year, we're already starting off with a new surge in the crisis, and experts have said that it could take months for the surge to disappear. The scenario could also force many businesses to shut down, just like before. Recovery has yet to reach many people. I know this because I read many of you guys' comments, and many of you guys have not recovered from the crisis. In fact, there are several reasons why stimulus checks still have to be sent out. It's important that lawmakers take action now, as it took 9 months for Congress to send a second stimulus check, and just months to spend it. Moving forward, Congress should make recurring monthly checks automatic if certain triggers are met. There have been a total of 3 previous rounds of direct stimulus checks, from $1,200 in March 2020, $600 in December 2020, and $1,400 in March 2021. The expanded child tax credit also provided up to an additional $300 a month in the form of aid that's provided to U.S. families and can vary based on the decision of each state. There are multiple states that have already agreed to send out their own fourth stimulus check, and it's really great to know that at least state governments are lending a helping hand to Americans in some shape or form. For example, California has been one state that has sent out hundreds of millions of dollars in relief. The direct payments that were issued to California residents in 2021 were possible all because of a massive budget surplus that was in excess of the state constitutional limit. This required the state of California to issue the money from the budget surplus back to taxpayers. That's in some way or form. So, as you can see, President Biden should definitely do more on this, and it will definitely help many people out. If you guys agree, then tell me in the comments.
Yard without having issues. My daughter, she has a form of arthritis that is much like rheumatoid arthritis. And what I bring in is the sole frickin' money that we all live on. I didn't buy my medication this time because we needed toilet paper. Thank God my husband doesn't need medication, and thank God my daughter has Medicaid. How are you going to keep people like me from being homeless tomorrow?
Let me start by saying you're not alone. This is happening to millions of people across this country who worked hard all their lives, who played by the rules, who did everything they were supposed to do, and then it just takes, just like you described, that one instant in a car accident or one bad diagnosis on a medical problem for your daughter, and the whole thing turns upside down. It's time to raise Social Security payments across the board, and disability payments, both. And this is what I've got a plan for. Raise Social Security payments $200 a month, raise disability payments $200 a month. We can do this by asking those at the very top to pay a little more. We can do this and extend the financial longevity of Social Security for decades to come. The way I see this is after a lifetime of hard work, people are entitled to retire with a little dignity, and that means protecting and expanding Social Security. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and congratulations, Governor Brainerd, and congratulations, Ms. Thompson, on your nominations. So I'd like to talk a little bit about inflation and about the Fed's tools to deal with it. Governor Brainerd, let's start at the beginning. If the economy is overheated, what is the Fed's primary tool to cool it off?
The federal funds rate.
Yeah, so increasing interest rates, in other words. But what if inflation is caused by kinks in the supply chain? Prices jump because the supply chain is just not functioning. Does the Fed have a tool to deal with that?
No, we have a tool that operates on the demand side, which is the federal funds rate.
Okay, in other words, interest rate adjustment is your tool, and it doesn't work on things like supply chain kinks. When Chair Powell was here on Tuesday, we discussed how market concentration can lead to increasing prices. While consumers are facing higher inflation, profit margins for corporations have surged to their highest levels in 70 years. Now, inflation hasn't gone up because one day corporations woke up and said, hey, today we're going to be greedy. No, inflation has gone up at this moment because of the way that prices are passed on in a more concentrated market. In a highly competitive market, when costs go up, businesses pass those costs along to their customers, but they can't expand their profit margins because other competitors are just going to beat them down on prices. But in a very concentrated industry, one with only a few competitors, a dominant corporation can use the excuse of inflation for passing along rising costs and then add in an extra bonus for themselves to increase their profit margins. As Chair Powell put it on Tuesday, those firms are, quote, raising prices because they can. So, Governor Brainerd, would you agree that increased market concentration has allowed some corporations to profit off pandemic disruptions by raising prices on consumers beyond the increased costs that the corporations have to deal with?
Well, certainly a lot of economic research would suggest that in concentrated industries, individual producers have more pricing power. So that kind of dynamic is certainly possible.
Okay, so I know that the Fed has a role in approving bank mergers, but with respect to broader concentration throughout the rest of the